Are you mocking us? What is this amount? One day I kept getting calls from my parents. When I finally answered the phone, they suddenly yelled at me. I couldn't even understand what my father was saying. I was completely confused. When I asked what was wrong, it turned out they were upset about the amount of money being sent. My sister Ally was supposedly sending as much as $4,000 every month, but they believed that my contribution was only 50 cents. That's not right. I'm sending $4,000 every month properly, I asserted. What? Don't lie, my father shouted. Ally is a model. She earns far more than you and has been sending us $4,000 every month. I'm really disappointed in you. Ally is so smart. My mother chimed in, her voice heavy with disapproval. Are you just enjoying living alone and spending money as you please? Why don't you learn from your sister? She sends us so much of her hard-earned money. You don't care about us at all. As usual, my parents were far more lenient with my sister. I was stunned and overwhelmed with sadness. Why do they think I'm sending only 50 cents? Despite my frustration, I decided to stop sending money for a while. My name is Violet, a 28-year-old employee at a food processing company. There's a 5-year age gap between my sister and me. From the time she was born, Ally had the face of an actress. Everyone who saw her turned to look twice. Adults always praised her, saying, "I've never seen such a cute child." In contrast, I had a plainer appearance. Adults often laughed when comparing us, saying, "Violet's face is so ordinary." My parents believed Ally would definitely succeed as an actress or model. They adored her endlessly. Their attitude toward me, however, was completely different, and that disparity had been clear since we were children. When I was in elementary school, I wore old clothes given by neighbors, while Ally always had new outfits that reflected the latest trends. I never took lessons, but whenever Ally showed interest in something, our parents immediately enrolled her. Spoiled by their favoritism, Ally became increasingly overbearing. "I don't have to lend my things to you, Violet, but it's okay for me to use yours," she'd say, taking my cherished stationery one by one. Whenever I complained, my parents defended her. "Ally is still a child. Forgive her." Even when she was clearly in the wrong, they'd say, "Forgive her, Violet. You're the older sister." They dismissed my opinions easily, never listening to me properly. I was fed up with Ally's cunning behavior, but our parents never scolded her. Sometimes I felt depressed by their blatant favoritism, but I eventually learned to accept it. When I reached the upper grades of elementary school, Ally demanded her own room. Everyone knew she wouldn't give up until she got her way. "Violet, move to the living room where your grandparents' portraits are," my parents told me. "You don't have many clothes anyway. It's enough if you can sleep." Reluctantly, I took my bedding to the living room and started sleeping there. On the shelf were pictures of my late grandparents, who had passed away soon after Ally was born. Unlike my parents, they had cherished me dearly. My grandfather had even chosen my name, Violet, because I was born during the spring violet season and he loved those flowers deeply. When I was little, I often sat on his lap, wrapped in his warmth. I still remember him saying, "Violet, no matter how hard things get, you can always overcome them. After the hardship, happiness will bloom again, just like violets." Those memories comforted me even years later. As I grew older, I dreamed of becoming a school nurse. I told my parents that I wanted to take the university entrance exams. "There's no way we have the money to send you to university," they said flatly. "Get a job after high school. Violet, you're the older sister. Think about Ally too. We need to save money for her." Our family wasn't poor, we were quite average. But my parents spent the bare minimum on me so they could save for Ally's future. After high school, I got a job at a small company 3 train stations away and decided to move out. I'd hoped to stay home to save money before marriage, but I knew I'd continue to feel marginalized if I stayed. Living alone in a small studio apartment near work was peaceful, a comfort I had never felt at home. Meanwhile, Ally continued to live with our parents after graduating from a prestigious university. She had been scouted by a talent agency while shopping with friends and soon began working as a model. My parents were thrilled and bragged about her constantly. One day Ally called me. "All that we sisters have achieved is thanks to Mom and Dad," she said cheerfully. "From now on, let's repay them for everything they've done. How about sending them about $4,000 a month? $4,000? Isn't that a lot?" I was stunned. Modeling must really pay well. I want to surprise them soon, she continued. Let's start this month. Although I was skeptical, I'd heard our parents were struggling with debt, apparently from expenses spent on us. So I agreed. But my salary was only $3,000 a month. To send $4,000, I had to dip into my savings and take a part-time job as a security guard on weekends. The work was tough, scorching heat in summer, bitter cold in winter. So I endured it. Even after cutting unnecessary expenses, $4,000 was hard to manage. I decided to study for a certification to increase my income, sleeping barely a few hours a night. Then came that phone call. You're horrible. What do you think of us? My father's furious voice roared through the line. Are you mocking us? What is this amount? What do you mean? I asked, completely lost. Do you know how much Ally sends? $4,000. And you send 50 cents. Are you mocking us? That's impossible. I protested. I've been sending $4,000 every month. Don't lie, my father spat. Ally earns more than you. She's the one sending $4,000. I'm disappointed in you. My mother sighed. You're just enjoying yourself while your sister takes care of us. You don't care about us at all. I was speechless, hurt and confused. Later I realized what had happened. Ally had once suggested, since it's from both of us, let's use the name Rainbow when sending the money. I hadn't known that her stage name was Rain. She had been sending 50 cents under my name Violet, while sending her own payments under hers. My parents believed that Rain was Ally and Violet was me, thinking I had sent only 50 cents. Before I could explain, they hung up, shouting, "We don't need such a mocking amount from you." That night I couldn't sleep. I felt bitter and betrayed. Unsure of what to do, I decided to confide in my high school friend Na, who worked at a consulting firm nearby. She had always been a strong, justice-minded woman, someone I deeply trusted. During lunch, she listened carefully as I told her everything. After a pause, she said, "Are your parents really struggling with money? They're still in their 50s, right?" She looked shocked when I told her about the $4,000. It seems they have debts, I explained. Ally said it was money spent on both of us and suggested we repay them to show gratitude. Na frowned thoughtfully. You say it's money spent on both of you, but you didn't even go to university, right? Isn't it mostly money spent on Ally? And isn't your dad still working too? There's no need for you to send that kind of money. $44,000? It's unimaginable that they suddenly need $4,000 when they've been living fine so far. If they're saying your contribution is just 50 cents, why not stop the payments like your parents suggested? I nodded at Nina's advice. You're too kind, Violet. You shouldn't let yourself be pushed around. Her words echoed in my heart. What am I to my family? I reminded myself that I should never live according to their whims again. 2 months later, my phone wouldn't stop ringing from early morning. Thinking it was unusually persistent, I finally answered. Why haven't you been picking up all morning? And why did you stop sending money on your own? What were you thinking? Was Ally furious? I'm already overwhelmed with my own life, I said quietly. I had learned that our parents were panicking because the $4,000 payments had suddenly stopped. But I also knew that the money had been fueling Ally's pride and my parents' wasteful spending. Actually, Nina had discovered the truth. A friend of Ally's happened to know her and shared information through Nina's wide network. I always suspected something was off, Nina told me. I heard Ally spends a lot on clothes and cosmetics. Hearing that, anger welled up inside me. While I had been working weekends and cutting down on every expense, Ally had been telling her friends, "My big sister is my source of funds. I rely on her money. Lately I've been struggling because she stopped sending it. I might have to cut down on facials and cosmetics for a while." I also found out that my mother had been buying luxury brands, and my father had stopped going to work, gambling instead. It felt absurd to realize that my hard-earned money had been supporting their self-indulgence. Do you think I don't know, Ally? Dad is working, so my money isn't needed, right? I said firmly. A week later, my parents came to see me. It seemed Ally had finally told them the truth after being confronted. Through tears, she had admitted that she wasn't earning much as a model. She had led our parents to believe she was making a high income, but in reality she was barely scraping by. Though she was cute, she lacked singing or dancing talent, and her modeling jobs were small, mostly for inexpensive online catalogs. When our parents learned the truth, they were furious. We've been strict with Ally, my father said stiffly. Don't worry about her. Just continue sending money as before. There was no apology for accusing me of lying. We've been waiting for 2 months' worth of payments, my mother added. Please deposit it when you can. You're reliable after all. Their greed knew no bounds. I heard from Ally that you were in debt. Is that true? I asked something I had long wondered. Debt? Of course not, my father replied boldly. We covered the tuition with your grandparents' inheritance. So Ally's story about family debts was false. We just need a bit more for shopping since your father's salary isn't enough, my mother said casually. I was speechless. They didn't need my money, they just wanted more for luxuries. Father's income should be enough. Besides, why doesn't Ally get a full-time job? I said firmly. My father's face darkened. Is that how you talk to your parents? I didn't raise a daughter to act like this. My mother added coldly, we don't need a daughter like you. Then in a shocking twist they declared, if you're going to be like that, we'll just use the savings your grandfather left for you. You're no longer part of this family. Grandfather's inheritance, the one meant for my future. Do as you like, I said. But from now on, don't contact me again. When they left, tears spilled down my cheeks. What was my existence to this family? 2 months later, the doorbell rang unexpectedly. Standing there were my parents and Ally. I had never thought I'd see them again, but I reluctantly opened the door. Their poor appearance startled me, and they seemed equally surprised to see me. What's with that look? My mother asked, puzzled. I had changed. I was healthier, confident, and better dressed than before. I explained calmly. I studied hard and obtained a small business consultant certification. Thanks to that, my salary improved at the new job Nina introduced me to. I'm now a team leader. The company's a bit far, so I'm planning to move closer. Before I could finish, my father interrupted. Before indulging in luxuries, give us some money. Are you planning to abandon your struggling family? Just lend us a bit. They spoke as if nothing had happened. Disgusted by their shamelessness, I said coldly, with Dad's and Ally's income, you should be able to live comfortably. In reality, Ally hardly had any work. You don't understand how tough modeling is, she cried on the verge of tears. The radiant beauty she once had was gone. I soon learned the rest of their downfall. Ally had been scouted by another agency claiming she could debut as an actress. To join, she borrowed money from our parents. My father even invested his early retirement savings. But the agency was a scam. After paying, no one could be contacted again and no contract had ever been signed. I was dumbfounded. Before you come to me, go to the police, I advised. Just then someone from a consumer finance company arrived. Are you family? They asked. It turned out my parents and Ally had borrowed large sums hoping for Ally's success. They had even begun frequenting nightclubs trying to ease their stress until they lost everything. I don't know these people, I told the finance officer firmly. I have nothing to do with them. Then I walked away. Later my parents filed for bankruptcy. Their debt was temporarily erased. They sold their house and moved into an old apartment. Through a twist of fate, my father ended up working at the same construction site where I had once worked part-time. I'll be in your care starting today, he said nervously. Ah, it's the old man, a coworker replied. There used to be a young lady here who worked hard and sent money to her parents. I'd like to see the kind of parents who made her work construction. My father's face stiffened. As for Ally, she gave up modeling and entered the nightlife industry. But her selfish attitude made her unpopular with customers. She was fired from several clubs and lounges, eventually finding work at a small bar. Her beauty had faded due to excessive drinking. Among the regulars, the story that she was once a model was treated as a joke. A model? Who are you kidding? Look in the mirror, they'd sneer. I have since cut all ties with my parents and sister. My life now is peaceful. 5 years passed. I attended Nina's wedding, held in a chapel overlooking the bright blue sea in Miami. The atmosphere was filled with joy and openness. Next to Nina stood her husband, smiling warmly, his solid build radiating quiet strength. Nina had focused on her career for years, but she eventually fell in love with a kind colleague. I achieve everything I want on my own and I discard what I don't need quickly, she laughed. Violet, you should also face your feelings. Her smile was brighter than ever. Her husband joked, "Don't throw me away, okay?" And everyone laughed. "I'm really grateful to you, Nina. Be happy," I said with the biggest smile I could muster. Her wedding felt like a celebration not just of love, but of freedom. The woman who had once given me the courage to stand up for myself was beginning a new chapter, and I was truly happy for her. As the ceremony ended, a man appeared, slightly out of breath. He was tall, well-built, with a charming smile. Nina introduced him. "This is Nicholas, but everyone calls him Nick. He's a close friend and runs an architectural firm. I wanted to introduce Nick to you, Violet. You two are so alike," she teased. Finding Nina's laughter infectious, Nick and I both laughed together. We hit it off right away and decided to have dinner sometime. As I looked out over the ocean, I thought, I feel like violets are blooming inside me again. From now on, I plan to enjoy both work and love, to live life to the fullest. Grandpa, please keep watching over me from the sky. I'll make sure to blossom fully. Cherry blossom.